Welcome to RPTV Weekly News Show. My name is Fred Alvarado and my co-hosts are Murphy Brown, Jabin Haque, and Korbin Milo. We present news that impacts on Regent Park and the surrounding areas.
In this episode, we present the following news for the week of January 20th to January 27th. Paintbox Bistro offered free groceries in Regent Park residents after the restaurant went out of business. Ontario to begin lifting COVID-19 restrictions on January 31. Toronto students head back to classroom after COVID remote learning. Snowstorm. Lindsay Jackson to leave the Regent Park SDP for a new position with the city. The Evaluation Benchmark Committee presents at the SDP Planning Committee. Canadians with disabilities fell through the cracks in the pandemic response. Shelter system in collapse. Toronto residents demand action. Gather supplies to address emergency. City of Toronto providing more than 310,000 N95 masks for clinics in the shelter system. Vaccination clinics in Regent Park. Events and jobs in Regent Park.
Paintbox Bistro offer free groceries to Regent Park residents after the restaurant went out of business. Chris Klugman, owner and founder of Paintbox Bistro, offered free groceries to Regent Park residents after he announced last week that the beloved neighborhood restaurant closed effective immediately. Since April 2020, Paintbox Bistro and Catering located at Dundas Street East and Sackville Street was transformed into a food store through a partnership with a local grocery startup called Nibbly, filling the former restaurant space with shelves of product. Free food, supplies, and books were given away this week from the Nibbly store shelves, accessible to anyone passing by Paintbox Bistro. During lockdowns, Paintbox operated as a grocery store until larger competitors started offering same-day delivery and they lost their advantage. They also partnered with charities to produce 2,500 meals per week for people experiencing food insecurity, preparing over 35,000 meals total during lockdowns. Paintbox also became an incubator for food startups, including Batch Cookies, Spike Your Food, and Do Good Donuts. With a new surge and other variants on the horizon, with a renewed government lockdown and canceled catering, Paintbox is out of financial resources and no longer tenable, reads the letter. The bistro-style restaurant, known for its social and environmental impact, was run by chef and George Brown instructor Chris Klugman, who signed the announcement. Catering, which has been our bread and butter, started to return in the fall of 2021. Omicron changed that. It felt like March 2020 all over again, Klugman said. I haven't heard back from the landlord regarding the future of the space. As far as myself, I intend to do something fulfilling and impactful in the new year. Don't know what, Chris said in an interview.
Ontario to begin lifting COVID-19 restrictions on January 31st. The Ontario government is easing COVID-19 restrictions on some businesses, including restaurants and gyms, beginning the end of January, starting at 12:01 a.m. on Monday, January 31st. These settings will have a capacity limit of 50%, some of which were previously closed.
Starting January 31st, businesses in Ontario will return to 50% capacity. For the first step, arenas, concert venues, and theaters will be capped at 500 people. Social gatherings will increase to 10 people indoors and 25 people outdoors. If trends remain stable or improve, Ontario will move to the next step on February 21st and then March the 14th. The best way to make sure we keep moving forward, the best way to protect our progress is by getting vaccinated. If you haven't already done so, please get your first or second shots. And if you're eligible, boost up as soon as you can.
Proof of vaccination and other requirements such as masking will continue to apply, the government said.
Toronto students head back to classroom after COVID remote learning and the snowstorm. Ontario's largest school board is to resume holding classes in person this week. The Toronto District School Board said that classes were set to go ahead after a snowstorm disrupted those plans on Monday and Tuesday. Parents in Toronto expressed mixed emotions as they dropped their kids off at school for the first time in weeks on Wednesday, saying they were worried about COVID-19 but glad to have their children get back to in-person learning. The return to physical classrooms after 2 weeks of remote learning was delayed by 2 days for the Toronto District School Board after a major snowstorm hit on Monday. The provincial government highlighted updated ventilation systems, the rollout of rapid tests for students and staff, shipments of masks, and school-based vaccine clinics as it announced the resumption of in-person learning.
Lindsay Jackson to leave the Regent Park SDP for a new position with the city. The SDP, also known as the Regent Park Social Development Plan, is a community-wide initiative consisting of various city-funded projects and activities aimed at building social cohesion and inclusion. The role of the SDP Planning Committee is to set the agenda for the SDP Stakeholder Table, which is the main decision-making body for the Social Development Plan. The SDP membership is made up of TCHC residents, market residents, agency representatives, and grassroots groups. On January 13, 2022, the SDP Planning Committee held their regular weekly meeting over Zoom. This week's meeting of the SDP Planning Committee was facilitated by Lindsay Jackson and Lloyd Pike, a longtime resident of Regent Park. The first item of the agenda was Lindsay's announcement that she will be leaving the SDP to take on another position with the city. Lindsay Jackson was a community development worker with the city, tasked with the responsibility of supporting Regent Park and the social development plan. Over the past 2 years, Lindsay has been working with the members of the SDP Planning Committee and the SDP Stakeholders Table to guide its work and help in the implementation of activities. Lindsay's new position at the city as an agency review officer with the community funding unit will begin following a 2-week transition period. Lindsay's last meeting will take place on Thursday, January 20th. Richard Kirwan, a community development officer with the city who was present at that meeting, stated that the process for hiring a new community development worker to replace Lindsay will take place in the next couple of weeks. In the meantime, he will support the SDP Planning Committee until a replacement has been hired and supervising the position when a new community development worker is hired. Lindsay will also be developing a transition report to help the new person get up to speed. A farewell tribute was held for Lindsay Jackson at the January 20th meeting of the SDP Planning Committee. Here is what members had to say.
I just want to tell you what a pleasure it's been to work with you. I've enjoyed every meeting I've been with. It's incredible. Not only do you have mad skills, but it's your personality. You are so fun to work with, and I really hope that you never lose that. It is an amazing gift. and you just bring like sunshine into a room.
Lindsay, you have made a great difference in your short time here with our planning committee in Regent Park, with the social development plan. Thank you very much.
Lindsay, such joy you are. Congratulations, firstly, and I'm so happy for you, for your new role and your career growth. It is really amazing. I admire the way you work, your style, and Regent Park is definitely going to miss you. Your social graces, the way you lighten up things in the meetings and everything, your joy and everything. All the Lindsay energy is going to be missed.
Hi Lindsay, I want to say thank you for all the hard work you did with the social development plan and the support you give us individual. Especially I called you, you've always answered my call. Thank you for that, and I want to wish you the best of luck.
It's been a pleasure to meet you here in Regent Park. Thank you for serving the community well. I wish you well in your future endeavors.
Thank you for all the work and your support you gave in coordinating the stakeholders table. We will miss your professionalism, your patience, your understanding, and of course your everyday smile you brought to the work will be missed.
It's so bittersweet to be saying goodbye and also to be wishing you congratulations on such a wonderful job opportunity for you. Being able to work with you over the last year and a half, 2 years, through a crazy pandemic and in a community that requires so much energy and care and strength and attention. So best of luck. Thank you so much for all you've done here. We love you.
Hi Lindsay, I wanted to say thank you very much for all the work that you have done for this community. It's been a pleasure getting to know you, working with you in so many different projects. I am very excited for your new role, where you can also continue to help with many of the projects and many of the communities that you will be helping with.
The Evaluation Benchmark Committee presents at the SDP Planning Committee. The other major item presented at the January 13th, 2022 SDP Planning Committee was a presentation by Janine Hodgson and Sanjura Sharma, who are support staff from Yonge Street Mission involved in the Evaluation and Benchmarks Committee. The role of the Evaluation and Benchmark Committee is to evaluate the progress, success, and challenges of the Social Development Plan and its various committees and activities. As part of the presentation, Sanjura reviewed the work done to date by former Evaluation Coordinator Pavatra Sulanthar, including the success of the pilot evaluation report that was published in July 2021. Janine reported that they will be meeting with the SDP working groups in February to begin the co-development of self-assessments tools that will help evaluate the performances of the SDP working groups. The Evaluation and Benchmark Committee will also be exploring how to assess the impact of the projects that the SDP are implementing. Based on the learnings of the pilot evaluation report, the Evaluation and Benchmark Committee hopes to adopt standardized assessments tools across all the working groups that can be carried out semi-annually. For more information about the Evaluation and Benchmark Committee, please contact Janine Hodgson at jhodgson@ysm.ca. That is jhodgson@ysm.ca.
Canadians with disabilities fell through the cracks in the pandemic response. The GTA physician, Dr. Amit Arya, is one of several healthcare professionals who have been speaking out about how ineffective government action will likely increase the number of people living with disabilities. And more than that, how leaders have overlooked the existing disabled community altogether. There are going to be millions of people who will be suffering from long COVID, and we are not prepared to provide them proper health care or proper social supports, said Arya. Even before COVID was a factor, at least 1 in 5 Canadians already lived with a disability, according to numbers from the 2017 Canadian Survey on Disability. And yet, 2 years in, the pandemic response has pressed on without people with disabilities in mind. Members of the community say changes need to start now. It's not a matter of waiting for the next emergency. Many of the problems grew out of gaps that already existed and were made worse by a failure to prepare. People with disabilities have been invisible during the pandemic, and I think that continues to be true, said Deborah Stienstra, a politics professor at the University of Guelph who focuses on disability. Stienstra, who has a disability, was a lead researcher on a report that the university put out in the spring on disability inclusion in the government's pandemic response to help employment and social development Canada improve. It found that people with disabilities were excluded from COVID-19 support due to inadequate data, lack of targeted policies, restrictive eligibility criteria, lack of policy coordination, and inaccessible communications. Disabilities are diverse, whether physical, sensory, intellectual, or mental. Individuals can have different priorities from one another, but having them present in decision-making will bring more to the table. Disabled people were living in poverty before the pandemic, during the pandemic, and are in deeper poverty now, Michelle Hewitt said. Hewitt, who is co-chair of Disability Without Poverty, points out that living with a disability is one minority group that anyone can join. Disability Without Poverty is led by people with disabilities and came around the end of 2020 in response to gaps in how the government served their communities during the pandemic and to push for a national disability benefit, which has been slowly moving through Parliament and will provide support besides existing provincial programs. Poverty among people with disabilities is having unintended and surprising consequences.
Shelter system in collapse. Toronto residents demand action, gather supplies to address emergency. The City of Toronto shelter system is in collapse. It is often unable to accept new residents or even answer the phone, and the city is incapable of meeting the basic needs of unhoused people inside and outside of the shelter system. There are 50 shelters currently in outbreak, unable to accept new residents. There have been 2,292 COVID-19 cases in the shelter system, 20% of which have in the last 2 weeks. The system is also burdened with long-standing and unresolved systemic issues of violence, theft, and discrimination, in addition to COVID-19 safety issues, making many people feel unsafe accessing shelter beds and staying outside instead. These people are often criminalized by the city. In 2021, 132 people died in the shelter system. There were 46 suspected or confirmed fatal overdoses in the shelter system. In the first 3 quarters of 2021, the same as all of 2020 and 4.6 times higher than in 2019. There were 1,037 suspected non-fatal overdoses in the first 3 quarters of 2021. The collapse of the shelter system is systemic and requires multiple interventions to address. The city tells housed people to isolate away from others if symptomatic, yet it has adopted in situ recovery for shelter residents. Even in congregate spaces, recovery beds have been cut to 60. Recovery beds are now only accessible to the most vulnerable, but the site is consistently full, so there are no spaces available. Shelter residents are especially vulnerable to COVID, forcing COVID-positive people, particularly those who are symptomatic, to isolate in situ can be dangerous. The lack of recovery beds puts everyone at risk, says Laura McDonald, a registered nurse at Regent Park Community Health Center. At the same time, the lack of beds in the shelter system overall is a major health concern, especially in cold weather. Shelter Housing Justice Network Steering Committee member Lorraine Lamb says, the city says everything is fine, that it doesn't need help. But the system has been in crisis for years. When it turns people away from shelters and stops answering the phone when sick, COVID-positive people are forced to sleep outside and others are left to recover in congregate settings, it is obvious everything isn't fine. That is why we are calling on both levels of government, the United Nations, the Red Cross, and other international humanitarian aid organizations for emergency assistance. It is also why we are calling on Toronto residents to donate survival supplies. Lamb continues. We are calling on people who can to donate items that include tents, sleeping bags, winter clothing, masks, rapid tests, and gift cards. The city has failed to meet the basic needs of its unhoused residents, but the community is continuing to come together to support our neighbors. Key demands: increase capacity of the COVID recovery program to at least 200 beds. Immediately incorporate 2,250 permanent non-congregate shelter beds into the system. Repeal the no camping bylaw. Extend shelter hotel leases. Distribute at least 3,000 new housing allowances to unhoused people in 2022 and make them available to all unhoused people. Freeze all evictions with the powers of the Emergency Management and Civil Protection Act. Broaden the emergency weather system to respond to real-world conditions as per the winter plan. Expand overdose prevention, education, training, and response, and implement the recommendations of the Toronto Shelter Hotel Overdose Preparedness Assessment Project. Implement COVID-19 indoor air quality safety measures and ensure full transparency and public reporting about each shelter site. Implement all of the recommendations from the SHJN Winter Plan. For more information, contact Lorraine Lamb at 647-621-2060, Diana Chan McNally at 647-524-4250. Jennifer Jewell, 416-928-1465, and Laura MacDonald at 647-876-5622.
City of Toronto providing more than 310,000 N95 masks for clients in the shelter system. The City of Toronto continues to respond to the increasing demands on the shelter system created by the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic's Omicron surge and extreme cold weather by preparing to open new shelter spaces in 2 community centers. As well, all shelter sites will soon receive deliveries of more than 310,000 N95 masks to make available to shelter clients. The city estimates the more than 310,000 N95 masks will be sufficient to provide all clients of the shelter system with N95 masks for at least the next 14 days. As well, in coming days, the city will open 2 community centers, creating additional emergency shelter space to help those experiencing homelessness get out from the cold. As part of the city's response to COVID-19, the city is also currently operating 26 temporary sites to create physical distancing in the shelter system and provide space for people to move indoors from encampments. These new contingency spaces at community centers will offer a safe and welcoming place for emergency shelter, meals, and help connecting to important wrap-around supports like mental and physical health care.
Vaccination clinics in Regent Park. The Regent Park Community Health Center is running a COVID vaccination and testing clinic at 40 Oak Street, servicing the community every day of the week except Sundays. Vaccine clinics for folks 11 years old or older are running Mondays and Fridays from 3:30 p.m. to 8 p.m., as well as Tuesdays starting at 2:45 p.m. until 8 p.m. The vaccine clinic on Saturdays is servicing kids 5 years and up, as well as adults from 8:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. The testing clinic is being held on Wednesdays from 3:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. for those who meet provincial eligibility. And finally, a lower barrier vaccination clinic is being held for folks 11 years or older with no immigration status, fixed address, and or no identification, no questions asked. This low barrier clinic, however, is the only one that is not being held at 40 Oak. For the low barrier vaccination clinic, folks must go to the Regent Park Community Health Center at 565 Dundas Street East. Appointments for COVID testing, as well as first and second doses of the vaccine, are not necessary, although highly recommended. Third doses are by appointment only. For more information and booking, please visit regentparkchc.org/COVID-19 vaccine clinic. You can also email rpvaccine@gmail.com to get your appointment. Medical staff from Anishinaabe Health Toronto will be holding on-site COVID-19 vaccine booster clinics for you. The clinics will both be held on the ground floor community room of each building. The 150 River Street Clinic will be on Monday, January 24th from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., and the 180 Sackville Street Clinic will be held the next day, Tuesday, January 25th, from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Again, both clinics will be taking place in each of the building's respective community rooms on the ground floor. Boosters as well as first and second doses will be administered that day. Please arrive between the clinic time of 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. Walk-ins are welcome, no registration required. These clinics are exclusively for TCHC tenants, and they will be offering Pfizer and Moderna vaccines.
And we continue with events and jobs in Regent Park community with Jabin, Haque, and Korbin, Milo.
The Regent Park Safety Network is holding a series of 6 workshops on Regent Park successful advocacy. This will take place every Tuesday starting January 25th from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. The workshop series is organized in partnership with Mothers of Peace and Center of Learning and Development through funding from the City of Toronto at the Regent Park Social Development Plan. The 6 sessions are City Hall 101, Deputation Training, Community Benefits, YWCA Toronto, Political Leaders, and Advocating with Confidence. All Regent Park residents are welcome to join. To register for this free series, please email moprp@gmx.com or contact at 647-670-1628. TNG is offering in-person and virtual programs designed according to the needs of newcomer women and their families. TNG's New Woman Settlement Program will support women newcomer at every step of their settlement voyage and is focusing on building women-focused community connections in order to thrive in Canada. For this, there will be weekly online meetings on Mondays and Thursdays from 4:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Zoom. These meetings will encompass community events, a conversation circle, and physical and mental well-being workshops. If you are a newcomer woman and have questions about housing, healthcare, banking systems, immigration processes, children's schools, and more, this is a space for you. For more information and to register, please contact Sohelia Bonhi at 416-455-0643 or by email at sbonhi@tngcs.org. The Toronto Fringe Next Stage Theatre Festival is happening at Daniel Spectrum from January 19th to January 30th, 2022. The 15th Next Stage Theatre Festival is returning and transforming. As the festival readjusts to the new world and returns to live theater, it is offering you the best of the best in digital. There's something for everyone in this exceptional, strong, and eclectic mix of artists and shows. Humor, music, innovation, vulnerability from artists with strong and clear voices. The 2022 Next Stage Theatre Festival shows will be presented online. For more information, go to fringetoronto.com/nextstep/about. Focus Media Arts Center, the media organization behind RPTV, would like to invite you to join us on Thursday, February 10th for the I Heart Neighborhood virtual charity auction. This collaborative event includes 5 charitable organizations who are coming together for the 3rd year in a row to raise much needed funds to support important programs and services that positively impact people's lives by providing indispensable opportunities to underserved communities. In addition to Focus Media Arts, the charities are TNG, Jesse's, Business in Streets, and Urban Arts. Collectively, these agencies serve as an estimated 70,000 Torontonians each year. Focus Media Arts Center has been active in Regent Park since 1990 and is dedicated to professional training, mentorships, and participatory media practices. They empower communities to tell their own stories. You can participate and support this fundraiser event in a few ways. First off, you can sponsor the event by donating funds or an auction item to the Focus Media Arts Center or any one of the other partnering organizations you wish to donate to. Your donation helps support important community programming. You can also participate in the live and silent auction, part of the fundraiser, which will be held on February 10th and will feature a wide array of items and services, from jewelry, entertainment, electronics, art, fashion, travel, and more for you to bid over. Lastly, you can support our fundraising endeavor by sharing this event far and wide with your friends, family, and networks. We are still looking for sponsors and gifts in kind donations for both our live and silent auctions, and every bit helps. That was all for Regent Park events. Hope to see you there.
Now for employment and training opportunities. The Women's Entrepreneurship Hub, WeHub, is now accepting applications for Cohort 12, which will be taking place virtually. The Women's Entrepreneurship Hub is a program for low-income, self-identifying women interested in gaining knowledge, experience, and support in self-employment business ownership. WeHub supports women in all stages of the business cycle through virtual training by industry professionals, networking and testing opportunities, and business mentorship. The 6-week program begins February 2nd and runs until March 9th, 2022. It will be online, module-based, as well as live Zoom sessions. Live sessions are typically held on Wednesdays from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. and Saturdays from 9:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. WeHub operates in partnership with Scadding Court Community Center and Ryerson University's Diversity Institute and is funded by the Ministry of Children, Community, and Social Services. To learn more about what this workshop offers aspiring women entrepreneurs, as well as access the online application forms, please visit www.scaddingcourt.org/special projects/Women's Entrepreneurship Hub. Moving Towards Opportunity is a free 14-week job readiness program for high school students that will run from March 18th to June 17th. It is an opportunity to build networking skills and connect with industry professionals from across Toronto. The program organizers will be holding 2 information sessions where you can learn more about the program and what it is offering. You can join an info session on January 25th or February 1st from 4:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. The program is open to grade 11 and 12 students, with priority given to grade 12 students living in TCHC from Regent Park, St. Jamestown, Rivertown, and surrounding areas. Applications for the program will be due on February 11th, 2022. To register for the info session, follow the link in the description. CultureLink, in partnership with YMCA, is holding a cybersecurity training information session on January 25th from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. This session will inform you on their free cybersecurity training program for newcomers. If you are a newcomer interested in pursuing a career in cybersecurity, CultureLink's training program will give you the tools to get you started, providing free lectures, online practice materials, and practice exams, monthly networking sessions with potential future employers and cybersecurity professionals, and access to employment counseling and settlement referrals. To be eligible, you must be a newcomer with post-secondary education in IT, background or high interest in IT, and an understanding of coding. You must be a permanent resident or convention refugee only, and a minimum of CLB level 7 and 8 language assessment in reading, writing, listening, and speaking done in the last 24 months. The first step to sign up for the training is attending an information session. To register, contact Akila at asidiki@culturelink.ca.
And that's all for today's show. My name is Fred Alvarado, and my co-hosts are Murphy Brown, Jabin, Haque, and Korbin, Milo. We also like to thank our team of researchers that contributed for this week's show. And from our studios at Focus Media Arts Center, thanks for watching and see you next week.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and check out all of our social media platforms. For more information, check out our website.
Thank you.